Geospatial analytics is changing a lot. There are lots of new technologies, everything from the files, the formats, the techniques and the tools. All those different pieces are changing rapidly, even in the last few years. And I think the biggest thing that I see changing is that all these tools are starting to come to maturity and build into systems. And both in terms of the processing layers, producing analytics-ready data, to the formats to read these in cloud systems. Before, you kind of had to duct tape a lot of solutions together, and now you have these fully formed solutions. And it's interesting that it's coming right around this time of AI and different tools that can really start to make use of this data. And I think you'll start to see AI as a new interface, whereas previously everything was map-based. You had to click around and view that, and it was up to the reader to figure out how to use those systems and tools. Now you can actually ask questions. So I think it'll bring geospatial data to a new group of people, and now we actually have the tools to make that data a reality. I think you're starting to see people be okay with using it to ask questions, maybe improve their code, understand things, even think through a spatial problem. Like it's kind of your co-pilot for understanding how to think through a question or problem, maybe even correct some issues and help you work better and faster. That's applying to the people actually doing the work of geospatial analysis. And now I think you're going to start to see that be brought to the people who were traditionally asked those questions or wanted to ask those questions, but now more and more people can learn from that, actually ask those, get iterative responses, and there's going to be less bottlenecks on those analysts who needed to produce that output. Now people can just start to ask and explore on their own. And I think it'll actually make their jobs more valuable. The more people ask questions, the more follow-ups there are going to be. So we're just going to start to see that kind of snowballing effect of different tools and different systems, all kind of centered around this AI kind of adoption curve. I think what's really interesting is how do we get all the right data to power these things? Like I said before, before you had this whole mix of different systems, you kind of had to be an expert in everything to produce data that was really ready. Now we're starting to see more robust, kind of data engineering systems and practices. We're starting to see people really start to focus in on, geospatial analytics as a practice. And I think you'll start to see even AI engineers for geospatial, kind of all these different pieces start to specialize a little bit more. The use cases are pretty endless there, as there always have been in geospatial. So I think it's just going to be, how do we all work together, specialize, understand which parts we do really well, and kind of create complete systems to do that. I think Wherobots and CARTO have a pretty bright future ahead of us. CARTO has really, taken a lead on bringing AI and agentic workflows, which if you think about it, agentic workflows are kind of graphs of thinking about how to move through data and make decisions. That's what CARTO does really well, has a really easy way to present that. And now I think the ability to build those workflows and bring them out to not just inside the tool, but into other AI systems is going to be really important. What Wherobots can do is to say, how do we use the wealth of geospatial data that already exists out there and get it in analytical ready format? Once again, you need a ton of data to power these systems. And to do that, we need to really create a scalable way to reduce the cost of ownership of geospatial infrastructure and push more data into these systems. And I think that's where Wherobots can really help bolster that production of geospatial data, and more importantly, bring that into more question and answer sessions in AI agents in CARTO.